So what do we know about the life of William Shakespeare? Well, unfortunately, very little. Contemporary historians would have been focused on the monarchy, not some playwright and actor originally 100 miles northwest of London. Beyond that, personal correspondence, diary entries, records, they would have been lost or destroyed to the sands of time. Sometimes history is a lot like detective work. By piecing together context and the records that we do have, many historians have dedicated their lives to unveiling Shakespeare. This understanding doesn't just reveal the man behind the beloved plays and sonnets, but it also helps us understand his characters, for they are, after all, a product of his imagination, knowledge, and culture. So what do we know about Shakespeare's early life? Well, let's start at the beginning. Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon in April 1564. His baptism was April 26, 1564, so it is safe to assume he was born a few days prior. We usually celebrate his birthday on April 23rd, but we cannot be for certain that this is the exact date that he would come into the world. We know his parents were John Shakespeare and Mary Arden. John Shakespeare was a leather worker specializing in white leather gloves. So let's put this into context. White leather gloves, the soft white leather gloves that John Shakespeare makes, were a status symbol. They were a luxury item among the nobility. And Queen Elizabeth I even has soft white leather gloves during her coronation. So this meant that John Shakespeare would have been a prominent businessman and respected amongst his community. And then Shakespeare's mother, Mary, she was part of a prominent family and respected in her own right. So this was what we would call an advantageous match. They were a power couple, if you will, and power seems to be exactly what John Shakespeare was after. He rises through the ranks in local offices, eventually becoming the alderman, which is what we would consider a magistrate, and then bailiff, which is what we would consider a mayor. Now, something odd happens, and John Shakespeare disappears from public life altogether, and we don't know why. William Shakespeare was 5 years old when his father became the alderman, so it's safe to assume that this would have impacted his life in some way, whether that's through networking or maybe inspiring some of the conversations in his later historical plays. Who is to say? Now, one way we do know that it would have affected him is his education. He ended up going to a primary school, and he would have been there till probably about 15. Now, in this school, he would have studied Latin plays, memorizing them, dissecting them, and performing them. At the age of 18, William Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway. I know, the name sounds awfully familiar, and together they would have a daughter, Susanna, very soon after, and later twins Judith and Hamlet. Now, there's little known about Shakespeare's marriage with Anne. We know she spent the rest of her life in Stratford-upon-Avon while Shakespeare worked in London. Some historians take this and speculate that maybe not all was well within their relationship, but there is no way of truly knowing. It was not uncommon for men to work in London while their families lived in smaller market towns like Stratford-upon-Avon. Now, we know that his son, Hamlet, dies at the age of 11, possibly from the bubonic plague. It's important to note because grief, though very much part of the Elizabethan and later Jacobean life, it's explored in many of Shakespeare's plays. Some historians wonder if the exploration of grief in the play Hamlet coincides with the loss of his son 6 years prior, Hamnet. But again, there's no true evidence. While his home life is shrouded in speculation, it is his work as a playwright and actor, particularly in his early career as a partner in the company The Lord Chamberlain's Men, that Shakespeare really comes to life. It is from here that we get those iconic plays, and equally recognizable, Shakespeare's Globe Theatre.